No, we
Why
can't
could
come
you
with you.
come for once
Instead of flying off the handle.
The wickedly talented one and only
Adele
Adele Dazeem.
From Shatner and Stewart to Whoopi and Leonard Nimoy.
We can't talk
can't
about the
get
Dear
into
Evan
the
Hansen
book
of it all.
of Dear
We
Evan Hansen.
cannot talk about the Dear Evan Hansen of it all.
I
or
know,
I'm gonna
'cause
get.
we'll be here
We'll
all
be
day.
here all night. Everyone went, oh! Spoiler alert, babe. She stands up at the end.
Bad vibes, but awesome idea.
That's this entire podcast.
Between February 1692 and May 1693, more than 200 people were accused of witchcraft in Salem, Massachusetts.
By the end of the Salem witch trials, the Massachusetts Bay Colony had executed 14 women, 5 men, and 2 dogs.
My name is Blair.
And I'm Carley.
This is Girl Historians.
The Salem Witch Files.
Ahoy! Welcome back to Girl Historians.
I'm Carley.
And I'm Blair.
And this is the comedy podcast where we talk about history and our girls. This season, we're talking about the Salem witch trials.
And today we're talking about the most relevant topic, Wicked, the musical, part 1.
We're doing a 2-part episode, much like the movie Wicked.
Call me John Chu.
Honestly, call us John Chu. This is a 2-parter.
Today we're talking about the plot and summary of Wicked, and then in episode 2 we're going to go behind the scenes
because there's witches in it.
There's witches in it, so it counts.
So it counts, and it's actually a beautiful moment in musical theater history.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Let's get freaking into it.
Let's do it. Ahoy!
Welcome back to Girl Historians.
I'm Carley.
And I'm Blair.
And this is the comedy podcast where we're girls and we talk about history.
We're girls, we're chatting ways. A beautiful sunny day here in Toronto. So
Absolutely.
my serotonin lemons.
My serotonin lemons are in bloom.
In bloom, blooming in the fields. Blooming in the fields is so beautiful. I feel very poetic today. But
You're a tortured poet?
I'm a tortured poet. It's also Taurus season, finally.
And can I say fucking finally?
Fucking finally. I wait all year for Taurus season and Libra season because they're the Venus seasons.
Okay.
And I feel it.
I love it. I mean, we've been over this before. The amount of Tauruses in my life is frankly like...
I forgot that Reese was a Taurus too.
Yeah, Ben, you, my father. Like, there's a lot of people. I think I have like 6 Tauruses in my life. I have a lot of earth signs too.
Yeah. Well, Taurus.
I need it. I need the stability
of the Taurus.
which I feel like you can feel. Like there's so often I'm like, and everything's fine, Blair? Question mark?
Yes.
Great. Then it's fine.
I do enjoy being a Taurus. I used to really resent it because I didn't like that Taurus is the bull. And I, as a kid, really hated being compared to anything that wasn't a girly princess. So I really hated being called like stubborn like a bull, blah, blah, blah. Or like Blair sounds like Bear. So when people call me Bear, I hated that too.
You wanted to be like, you're a princess.
I'm actually a pretty princess. So it's crazy you'd say that.
It's actually violent. You say
It's
that.
actually violent.
I mean, I'm a Cancer, and
You're a crab.
Well, I don't mind the crab so much because I grew up in Maryland, where the crab is
Baltimore
Good morning.
crabs.
Yeah, I'm the legend of Miss Baltimore Crabs.
You are a legend.
Which
Miss
honestly, can
Baltimore
we say for one
crabs.
second, we talked about this when we watched Hairspray at book club, which makes no sense, but we watched it anyway.
It was good.
We read a Matt Haig book and then watched Hairspray.
By association, we ended up at watching all of Hairspray.
All of Hairspray. And
it's
everyone else was
amazing.
fine with it. And me and Blair were way too into it. You Can't Stop the Beat, I was jamming. And then I turned around and saw Blair jamming as much as I was. And I felt seen. It was awesome. All
sick.
that's to say, when we were watching it, I was like, it's a real tragedy that I can't sing because I do really feel like in my 40s to 50s, I would eat Miss Baltimore
But
crabs.
you never know. I feel like sometimes people get older and then you kind of have this like old woman voice and it's really raspy and sexy.
Here's what
and
I will say. My sister was in that musical, and I told you, like, she can sing. Like, she's been taking voice lessons, and we, like, talk the same, sound very much the same. And she, like, I've always been like, I'm an alto just because my voice sits like this, so surely I must be an alto.
Mm-hmm.
And she was singing, like, soprano stuff, and I was like, this is really crazy to see.
That's so
So,
cool.
obviously, I have the capacity in me. Also
because you can do voices. Anyone who can do like silly voices can sing.
And I do think this, like, I remember when because I did voice lessons last year or 2 years ago.
Oh, I remember when you were doing that.
Just for it was like a self-improvement thing because I was terrified of singing.
Yeah.
I really had a hard time doing it, like even for comedy stuff. And when I was working at
and
Second
you have
City,
to do musical improv.
well, that's the thing. It's like I have to do musical improv, but also honestly, when I was working at Second City, they'd be like, you literally just have to sing like 8 bars. And I'd be like, oh, I'm in agony. Like I wasn't comfortable doing it. So it was really hard. And I was like, I just need to get to a point where it's fine. So I did that. And she was saying, this vocal teacher was like, a lot of it too is just like an ability to be like, yeah, I don't sound perfect or I don't sound good all the time, but you do sound good by not sounding good, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
It's like the idea of like twang and all these different things. It was very interesting.
Well, it's also
all
just
that's
like,
to say I would eat Miss Baltimore crabs.
You would eat Miss, and I think you will. I think that's like down the line for
and
you.
not
coming,
the
and
movie
you
version, the
deserved it.
musical version, where she says, "Childhood dreams for me were dashed when that damn Shirley Temple stole my frickin' act." I love that song.
Love a drag Shirley Temple in the middle of Hairspray.
Just a Shirley Temple drag.
And she deserves it.
And she does. So
Child Shirley Temple.
Yes, adult Shirley Temple was like a mayor.
No, she worked
or the
for
UN or something.
Yeah, she did some sort of like crazy political position.
And good for her.
Yeah, I mean, good for her.
Okay, just making sure she wasn't like pro-child army.
I think she was a Republican, but before the Republicans really went off the deep end.
And honestly, this is something that the internet does not hold nuance for,
No.
so we can't talk about it. Same with your love of John McCain.
Oh my God. Okay, John McCain is a respectable politician. Keep this in, Rob. John McCain, look up his vote on Obamacare. It is one of those moving moments in American political history that we have on YouTube. Stop
I'm
coughing.
sorry I cut that out of the previous episode. I'm so sorry.
Honestly, no, I think it's good because I think that more Republicans should learn from John McCain, who was always very open to hearing different views while still keeping his morals.
What happened to being a Federalist? Now you're just you're just a member of the Ku Klux Klan.
It's freaking crazy.
Republicans used to be crooks in the sense that they wanted poor people to die.
Yeah.
But now they've just expanded to being batshit crazy. Like truly like grand wizard of Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Okay, so all that's to say is I'm a Cancer.
Oh, yes, a Cancer.
So crabs, but I hated being a Cancer growing up because it just sounds like cancer.
It sounds like the disease.
And I don't know if you know this about me. Because we've been exploring.
You're really afraid of getting cancer.
I am, yes. Because we've been exploring, of course, now that I'm medicated, I think I probably have OCD because all of my depression has really melted away. So now I've just been kind of, it's like almost.
You're left with the bare bones of what's wrong with you.
No, it's like there's now, it's like the house had a bunch of termites in it. And we've cleared the termites out.
Yeah.
And now we can just see what structurally
is wrong
with the house.
You're seeing that the house was built on a swamp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is sinking into the ground. All that's to say is I want, like, you know how they have those realization par shirts that are like Taurus baby.
Yes.
I can't have Cancer baby.
No, you can't have Cancer baby. I've always thought about that because like Taurus isn't the most like attractive. Like my moon's Aquarius. I have an Aquarius necklace and people ream me out for it. So I stopped wearing it.
That's mean.
It's okay. I don't really care. I just got sick of explaining that your moon sign is just as important as your sun sign, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, most artists are underappreciated in their time. You're Galileo and the Catholic Church, baby.
I am
you know.
Galileoing the Catholics. Oh, we're talking about Catholicism today.
Really?
Yeah.
Wicked?
More than I thought. More than I thought. There's Catholicism involved in this episode.
I love that.
But yeah, I was thinking the other day, you with the singing voice thing. I really think I'm really missing lately the fact that like everyone's got the same musical theater voice.
Oh, girl.
And we've talked about it.
Don't even.
We've talked
the
about
Aaron
it.
Tveit-ification.
But then I realized for women, and I say this with love, but the Renee Rapp type of singing, she's extremely talented.
Yeah.
But like, oh my God, the fact that like everyone is doing this like.
It used to be Sutton Foster, and now it's Renee Rapp. It's like there's the girl, and they all try to be the girls. The thing that really hurts me about this is like we just simply don't get the Bernadette Peters anymore. Like nobody sounds weird, and I mean that with love. Like Bernadette Peters has an amazing voice, obviously.
It's so interesting
but she
to hear.
sounds interesting and different. I even feel like, I mean, she sounds very similar, but I've been re-listening to the Falsettos soundtrack because I've been trying to go see Falsettos with your roommate, Sarah.
I did hear about this.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I have a new roommate. That's my other update.
Yes.
Carley knows this.
Yes, and she was obsessed with falsettos in high school, and I was obsessed with falsettos in high school. And they're playing falsettos. And it's honestly, there's that one time on the podcast that I said, I'm not a Stephen Sondheim girly, but I don't know who I am. And you said, you're a William Finn girly. And I felt called out, but it's true. I love falsettos, but I've been re-listening to it. And I do think Andrew Rannells kind of does fall into the Aaron Tveit. Like he's got an amazing voice, but he sounds very similar, whatever.
Yeah.
But Stephanie J. Block sounds
another girl we'll talk about today.
An
Elphaba icon.
And of course she is, obviously.
Of course.
She sounds like it's a musical theater voice and it's very middle of the road, but it's still her voice. And this is the same thing as the guy, I forget his name, but I love him, who plays Mendel in falsettos. He was in an American in Paris.
Oh, I can picture him.
Yes. He sounds like they all sound interesting. Another musical
I'm not
theater
gonna
song.
think of his name.
They ever did like Miscast here? And I had to sing like, Miscast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, just making sure.
Yes.
For the people at home that don't know, it's like a Broadway fundraiser, but they have Broadway performers come in and sing a song generally from like the opposite gender or a role that they'd never play, being like miscast.
I want to do a miscast so bad.
What would you sing if you were in miscast?
oh
Because
my
what I was
God.
gonna say is I would sing, even though it's not even popular at all, I would fucking love to sing Whizzer Going Down, which is not
Nice.
even from falsettos. Falsettos is actually a part of a triptych, and a lot of people don't know this.
Mm-hmm.
And this was from the first one that isn't in like the musical. And
March of the Falsettos?
yes,
Yeah.
and it's just him singing, being like about his like partner or whatever.
Yes.
But it's like being like, I see Whizzer Brown, I see Whizzer going down. And it's being like, I'm getting head. But it's like a very funny.
Yes.
It's just like the way that William Finn writes music and lyrics. It's so like it just really scratches an itch in my brain of like the way it goes up and down and up and down. It just works for me.
He's written on the subject of miscast. One of my favorite musical theater songs of all time is "I'd Rather Be Sailing."
Okay,
It's kind of slept on. I believe it's from A New Brain.
I think
but
it is
could
from
be
A New
wrong.
Brain.
And it's, oh my God, like one of the only songs that like there's a video of me probably at like 20 years old, blackout drunk, singing "I'd Rather Be Sailing" like in my friend's bedroom.
Oh.
I think it was my birthday too. So I
So
just
as
like
you
got
should.
like, oh my God, look it up. I'd rather be sailing.
Not
and
the
then
video
there's
of Blair singing it drunk, just the video of somebody singing it.
I'll find that video and I'll post it.
On the Instagram, which we have
Post
now.
it on the Insta. Oh yeah, follow us on Instagram, Girl Historians.
Podcasts have Instagram
You
now.
have no idea how many times we went back and forth on creating an Instagram.
It's embarrassing. Like it's not. Here's the thing. It's like having a podcast seems glamorous, and it feels like
it's not. It's humiliating. It's a humiliating experience.
obviously
you might
it
think
seems
this is their Gigi Hadid.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's
Bella
it's
Hadid.
Evelyn Hugo and her seven husbands.
Evelyn Hugo or seven husbands.
The height of glamour.
Yeah,
It's just literally spending 6 months every fucking week texting in the group chat, being like, should we get an Instagram?
It's me being like, I think I've decided we're going to get an Instagram, and then me the next day being like, I decided against the Instagram.
And we go, okay, and we support that. And then the next
Yeah.
day you're going like, should we have an
Should we
Instagram?
actually maybe have an Instagram?
Exactly.
Well, we started an Instagram because God, it was just getting too much.
Yes,
it was getting too much. Whatever. Anyway, you can follow it at Girl Historians
Instagram
Pod.
needs to fix like
Everything.
the reel sharing format of it all because
insane.
It's just bad.
It's so I posted the first reel on Girl Historians. This is the insight. True fans know the quality got absolutely wrecked. So the first reel on that freaking Instagram account looks like it was filmed on a potato. And I just gave up. And then, of course, because I collaborated with myself to experiment. And then when you collaborate on a reel, if you post the reel, you can remove it from your feed. But if you collaborate on the reel, it stays on your feed forever unless you delete yourself from it. It is backwards technology, Instagram.
Well, this was the thing of like, Blair would always share the reels with me. And if I said yes to collaborating, you could take them off your account, but they
Yeah.
were just on mine forever unless I deleted myself.
And
from it.
I obviously take them immediately off my page.
But I can't do
And
that.
so I had no idea this was happening to you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, I put this woman through psychological torture.
And it makes you feel bad because then you're like, why do I care about my grid?
Well, because you texted me being like, how do I get rid of these? And I was like, oh, Carley doesn't even know how to work Instagram. And then I went to try it. I was like, oh,
You can't do it.
you can't, they prevent you from doing
It's
this.
fucked. Anyway.
It's a mess.
Did you see that post that Instagram made this week where they were like, stop whining and complaining about engagement and try these things? What? Like they literally made a post on their Instagram business account being like, stop crying about engagement and do these things. That's the
Would you
first
cry
slide.
about- I'm going to cry
And it's
if
all
someone-
these
I get
things being
engaged.
like, oh, respond, don't post and goes, blah, 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 blah. Then the last one is, or you could pay us.
Oh,
And I was like, this is evil. Like,
my God.
this is evil.
Well, there's even like, so I run the Girl Historians TikTok as well.
I feel like they're really
kind of
seeing-
love it there, actually.
Yeah, that's fun.
Sorry.
I love the YouTube comments. I feel like they're finally seeing the breakdown of like who's running what.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
other people respond to the comments. Rob and Blair respond to the comments, so it's not always me.
Yes.
I don't want to take credit for some of the fun replies. Because you did make a comment. Was it you who replied to somebody talking about how they got an acid flashback during a Sheridan musical theater production?
Oh, that's iconic if that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I replied because that is iconic.
That's
and
so
then immediately
funny.
I was like, oh,
Sorry about that, though.
Sorry you got an acid flashback.
You're like, lol.
Sorry, my brain went to lol, amazing. When it was obviously a traumatic thing that happened to you.
Yes, but you were on the TikTok.
Oh yeah, so the TikTok, when you kind of start a new TikTok, I realize because my TikTok, I've been on it for years and like it's very kind of attuned to my interests. But this TikTok was brand new and I kind of tried to like look up certain searches. So we get on like, I could find other podcasts and follow them and we could be podcast friends because I really want podcast friends.
Would love a podcast
I want
friend.
a podcast friends. And then, so there's all these videos on TikTok now. There's a whole market of creators who just get on and tell you how to blow up on TikTok.
Yes, I see these all the time.
It's
I see
so
these all
dark.
the time. Yeah, it's being
so
like,
dark.
use this sound's about to blow up.
Yeah, this sounds about to blow up. Or it'll be like post between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. on Tuesday, but then 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Wednesday.
When I worked at
I'm like,
CBC, that was a massive fucking thing of like, it was basically like our 45-year-old boss saying this is what's true to a team of people selected because of their past success in social media. And we were all like, oh, no, we know that this doesn't really, like, it doesn't really, if the content is good, it doesn't matter when you post or how much, you know what I mean? Like, there's stuff of like, post consistently, whatever. But like, when I was at CBC, they'd be like, we have to post once at 9 a.m. and once at blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
oh
no,
my
you
God.
don't. Like, you don't really, like, I mean, if you follow me on YouTube, it's like, it's getting posted eventually.
It's also like I was really resistant to posting on Reels because I loved posting on TikTok because it was like my own little private world.
Yeah, it's like Tumblr.
Yeah, it was Tumblr where it was like I could post whatever shit, whatever. And then finally I started posting some stuff on Reels because I was just like, this is just kind of where the money is now.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, I've had videos go crazy, pop off on Reels and get like 200 views on TikTok and I get like tons and vice versa. Like it's really like there's some strategy to it, which is mostly just the only strategy you should care about is make good content.
Well, that's the fucking thing with everything. Like, I mean, and especially with Instagram and TikTok, like you're much more beholden to the algorithm than YouTube. Once you have subscribers on YouTube, like it doesn't matter. Like if you want to grow, then yeah, you need to work the algorithm. But like, I'm fine with where I'm at. Like, I don't really feel, and we've talked about this before, like growth for growth's sake to me is like not valuable. Like I want my content and my podcast and all these different things to like find the people it's meant for as opposed to just being released to the greatest amount of people in the world.
100%.
And I think that growth is like really gross because I remember I would follow people and then they'd be like, once we get to 200,000 subscribers, then then I'll release this video or whatever. And I was like, but I'm here now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
why don't you love me?
Why don't you value the people that you have? All that's to say is that like Instagram and TikTok, you're much more beholden to like whether or not it gets pushed out because people don't really use their following feature.
Yeah, which is weird. To me, that was
so strange.
A huge improvement when I switched to my following off of my For You page on TikTok. Oh my God, TikTok's amazing.
No, I always use my following. And my sister was like, why do you use your following? And I stopped using TikTok because I quite simply have now entered my like productivity mode where I'm like, if I can resist social media, I can get way more done than any other person in the entire world.
True.
Like, it's kind of crazy. I'm doing it now because I was like in my writing mindset for a while and wrote half the book and now I just need a break. I need to like, I sent it off to somebody to edit and I'm like,
that's amazing.
I'm excited.
That's so exciting.
She's really great. She's like an editor. Well, no, because you'll read it later, but it's still not good enough, girl. Like whenever I've let you read anything.
No, it's fine.
Okay, we're fighting.
I
do feel like before I give it to you to read, I have to like go through and make sure, because I already told you that I accidentally stole one of your full friends as a character by accident. Like I've got to go through. This is how Reset feels when he like watches me do comedy. He's like, I know so much about your brain that every single thing you say, I basically know where it came from, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Like we'll like talk about saltwater taffy once and then I'll like have a riff on it and he'll be like, that's really insane. And I feel like that's going to be you editing this book. You're going to be like, it's like when you said you watched like one video on my YouTube channel where like, it's just things you've already said to me.
Yeah, I was watching because we had talked so much about the Hunger Games and then we made a video about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And I was like, okay, well, she's stolen our conversations.
It's kind of crazy.
It's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's fun though.
Yeah. But it's Flying Books, the Toronto publisher. They
my
have like
God.
a school
That's amazing.
through which you can like, if anybody's a writer, you don't have to be from Toronto, but you just like basically they have a bunch of writers from Toronto and some of them like have published like really, really like amazing books and you can like apply to work with them and they'll like, you can do it in terms of just like a writing coach, but you can also just be like, for me, I was like, I need you to read this and make it better.
And edit it, yeah.
Her name's Amy Jones, I believe, and she worked on The Push by Ashley Audrain. And I just need somebody to tell me how to do plot. I can do vibes, obviously. I can do vibes, but I can't make anything.
That's so exciting. Yeah. I'm excited for Carley Thorne novel era.
Yeah, well, you're gunning for an acknowledgement. You're gunning for a to Blair.
No, I'm not.
To Blair.
I would never.
I always say that whenever I'm writing and Reese's like clears the dishes. I'm like, I see what you're doing.
No, so yeah, I guess I'm gunning for me and the other Tauruses in your life.
I know. It'll just be dedicated to Tauruses. That'd be honestly an iconic dedication to all the Tauruses out there.
But here's my segue. Tauruses are known for the throat. They're throat goats.
Sloppy toppy.
And Tauruses are famously known for being excellent singers.
Really?
Yes, that's a big Taurus trait, is being good speakers, good singers, and having nice voices.
Wow.
And today we're talking about some lovely voices featured in Wicked the musical.
Such as Adele Dazeem.
Such as Adele Dazeem.
That video, bro.
I've been trying to wrap, because when it happened as a kid, when I was like a child and this happened, I was like, that was so funny, LOL. And now I'm like, I had a moment this year and I was like, what
happened?
happened?
What happened? Because he was like, oh, I'm dyslexic. And you're like, no.
No, that's not dyslexia.
Because also, like, assumedly, he knows exactly, like, they're like, oh, we're going to ask John Travolta to introduce Idina Menzel.
And he must know.
And then John Travolta's manager is going to go, John, do you want to introduce Idina Menzel? And then he's there knowing he's there to introduce Idina Menzel. And then he goes out there on stage and goes, the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem. I am gonna name my child Adele Dazeem because it's the 10-year anniversary. You know this.
I know.
This year,
I think that's why I was thinking about it again, because it was the 10
because
year.
I was thinking about it and then I watched it when it was the 10-year anniversary because it was posted everywhere, and it's like Grape Lady. Like, it makes me laugh to this day. Like, it's the first time I've seen it. It's exactly what you said. It's like, what happened?
Because if you see it, there's like a panic in his eyes. The
but it's also
wickedly talented.
He's not wickedly talented. Like, and it's like they know. It's like that clip we had sent in our podcast group chat from Little Shop of Horrors, and it was when Evan Rachel Wood and Darren Criss were doing Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah. And Darren Criss has like we're coming this summer, and he's hit summer and then puts the glasses on as if it's a reference to anything in the musical, and it's not. And you're like, that's not a reference to anything in Little Shop of Horrors. Like, why is he saying, I don't know, it's not exactly that, but he says a random ass sentence, but gives the intonation of wickedly, as it's a reference to something else, being like somebody being talented. Like, we're not gonna pay rent. Have you seen that? Okay, obviously we need to talk about Wicked. I understand that, but now that we're talking about musical theaters, I got so much to say. Musical theaters, by the way,
it's also all on the same topic.
Exactly.
Just so you know.
Have you seen this? Because I love Anthony Rapp.
Yes,
I love him, and he's on the Star Trek
father
show.
of Renee Rapp.
Yes, exactly. Let's get that going.
He's not, but I really think that's a funny rumor.
Yeah, let's start spreading that. The Renee Rapp's she's such a nepo baby.
Last song.
The phone rings. That's how he sounds in that. Like, he's got such a nasally voice. The phone rings.
I was singing the other guy.
Yeah,
stupid
from Evita.
Stupid idiot.
Right? Yeah, Evita.
A new Argentina.
God, what's his name? I don't remember.
In the nation.
But they made him sing for Star Trek, Anthony Rapp.
Why are you singing on Star Trek?
No, they did a La Vie Boheme fucking Star Trek. Like, it's the craziest thing.
Oh my God.
Let me see if I can find it so we can link
the
it.
Spaceships and into
you can see like the light not in his eyes. Like, he doesn't want to do it.
Oh, that's too bad.
Okay, this is it.
525,600 reboots. 525
Star
Trek shows to explore.
It's about Star Trek.
525,600
Is this a video?
spin-offs, all boldly going.
Oh, no.
Where no one's gone before.
No, that's dark.
From Shatner and Stewart to Whoopi and Leonard Nimoy.
From Nichols to Biden, don't forget to Kay. In 500.
The show was supposed to be about AIDS.
I know. Well, that's the thing that's crazy about that is, like, they're talking about like a year in the life of a friend group that's about to be absolutely ravaged by HIV.
And they're just like, it's also hard to be on the spaceship.
525,600 reboots. 500 and some fucking poor man and like an alien, like he's had to get in the chair for 8 hours to get his alien makeup on to do a 30-minute social media
we're doing
clip.
some content
and none
today.
of them can sing besides Anthony Rapp.
521
And don't forget to Kay. There's one that's like at the very end when he goes,
God.
and Leonard Nimoy. That's so fucking awful.
Insane. Who comes up with these ideas?
Yeah, well, like, so few people who are working on people to work on a social media team for any big brand is basically to put out more content than is ever needed.
Yeah.
So you just run out of ideas. Like, you just submit like 25 ideas for your boss to pick one, and then you're like, oh, you picked that one. Like, do you know what I mean? You're
really
like,
rough.
You're like, that's
that one.
Because I wrote 10 that I thought were really good, and then I had to write 10 that are bad, but I have to fill out the list. And then they're like, why don't you do that one? And you're like, Oh no.
That one? Nah. But going back to John Travolta quickly with the
Adele Dazeem.
you can see a panic in his eyes
It's
when
so
it happens.
funny.
And the only thing I can fathom that happened is that he was so focused on getting the wickedly talented.
I think that's true.
And then he read the name and then thought that the name like wasn't in English and kind of like panicked that like there was an alternate pronunciation that he did not know.
I think you have hit something, which is a very human thing of like, there's a certain part of something that's so hard to do that once you get that part done, in your brain, this happens when I do auditions all the time, where I get past the hard part and I go, oh, I fucking
You
in my
miss the
head-
line that's like, what do you mean?
Yes, exactly. It's like in your brain, you're like, fuck, I'm doing so good right now. Okay, I nailed it. It's great. But then you realize that because you're thinking about how good you're doing, you've completely checked out.
Yeah, and he's like, I
off.
have to get Wicked out.
Yeah, and he knew that. But then I honestly think like he didn't read, like he couldn't read it, which is fair because as a girl who doesn't wear her glasses anywhere, like that's what I feel like is the truth of like he has to memorize it. He knows the teleprompter isn't going to help him.
Yeah.
And he knows I got to get Wicked out. The wickedly talented. And he goes, okay, got it. One and only. Yes, nailed it. And then he like is like, wait, what? Like it's just like a panic moment. And you know you have to say something. And he just says Adele Dazeem, even though he's like, I don't know. I've had choke moments like that like recently. And it's truly crazy where it's like, because you're aware that you're choking in front of people.
Yeah.
You can't even say anything logical.
No, and like I've had this moment a lot lately, like as I'm getting older, that like my brain truly has started dropping chunks of information.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've truly just reached my capacity of knowledge.
And you have to lose stuff to get other, like you do really have to like lose something.
Yeah.
Like
and
that
so
SpongeBob episode, like you got to burn some files to make room.
You really do, where it's just sort of like I've
Salem
been
witch
doing
trials
so
facts.
much. Yeah, and it's like, and especially this is why I feel like some people get really stuck in the past. But if you're in your late 20s and you're trying to like move forward and get new information all the time, like I don't remember anything about being 18. Like what was I doing? When you know, like it's all gone because like I just like I'm sure I could access it if I tried, but like even sometimes I'll be out or like at a store I haven't gone to in a while or something, and I'll be like, oh, like I've dropped out the information of how to get around this store or how to pronounce this person's name or this person's name. Like, you know what I mean?
There are things that I'll never remember, but if you needed me to draw a blueprint of the Annapolis Weston Mall,
You would have to.
I could do that. Like I could do it store for store. I think.
Erin Mills Town Center in Mississauga. I've got it down pat.
I could do, and that will never leave. And sometimes when I'm trying to go to bed, I just want to test my ability to walk in my brain from one side of the mall to the other.
Yes.
Including the new expansion with the tank made by the Tanked guys. Yeah.
Okay.
That was really fucking big for us in Annapolis.
Tanked. That's awesome.
It was
Annapolis.
just a pull.
What a town name.
We should all go sometime.
I would love to. Maryland.
Yeah.
I would love to.
It's fun in the summer. What were you going to say, Rob?
Would you like to hear John Travolta's explanation of what happened?
Actually, yes.
Yeah, dyslexia.
I mean, I feel like here's the thing. Before you read this, before I decide whether or not I believe this, I don't believe almost anything he says because I do think Scientology has destroyed him.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Because when we watched Hairspray, we were watching it. When you watch Hairspray, you're like, this is a gay man. Like performing in drag, living his best life. Like John Travolta puts his dick and balls into the portrayal.
Him and Grease, that's a twink.
Like, and he's fantastic. He's an amazing dancer. You know that suit that they've put him in is heavy as fuck.
Shoes, they're multiplying.
There's
and I'm losing control.
I think I have Grease on vinyl, but at my parents' house somewhere.
Let's blast it in the background of this episode.
I want every single person to go into sensory overload.
That's going to be the new Girl Historians thing. We put on one album really, really loud.
And we talk over it.
We talk over it, and then when it's time to flip it, we put the mics down, but we don't stop talking. Flip the record and blast the other side.
That's awful, Blair. That's awful.
That's actually... Someone could do that concept really well. It's not us.
No.
What's his explanation,
So
Rob?
do you want, there's like a couple paragraphs. Do you want like me to read the whole thing or like summarize?
Give us a summary. No, give a summary. A couple paragraphs is simply too much.
His claim is he was backstage at the Oscars and he was told, he thought he had like 15-ish minutes. A page rushes up and says, you were on in 15 seconds. And he said, what happened in 15 minutes? And he found out later that apparently the page who was supposed to give him a warning got stuck in an elevator. So another page ran up at the very last second and said, you have to go on now. The other thing was apparently he talks about being distracted by Goldie Hawn's sexy lips. And then
You know how a straight man would be. You know, that's like that scene from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
So sexy.
Where Holt is like, I love my wife's breasts. Like he's undercover as a straight man and he's trying to say like my wife's big heavy breasts. It was Goldie Hawn's lips. Yeah, lips.
So he gets
Totally
distracted by
sexy
that.
lips.
A producer runs up and says, "By the way, we've changed the spelling to phonetic spelling. Go." And
that's insane.
that's
Okay,
mean.
no, phonetic spelling is fucking crazy.
Adenum. Oh, that's crazy.
Because
yeah.
that
So he's
makes
like,
sense.
my brain didn't register it when I saw it, and we hadn't rehearsed it that well.
Nah,
So that's
that
his
looks
claim.
close to Adele.
That's true.
I mean, dazeem, who knows where that came
Dazeem is
from?
crazy.
But that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, okay. I get that.
If somebody just switches it to phonetic spelling of a person you
No,
fully
that's
know,
insane.
that's crazy. If
No,
somebody
that's
gave me
nuts
the
behavior.
phonetic spelling of your name, I would fuck it up so bad. That's
Also,
way
the phonetic
harder.
spelling of my name is just my name is spelled so phonetically.
No, bro, for the CBC thing, they're like, you have to send a phonetic spelling of your name. And I was like, okay, it's Car, Lee, and then Thorne, the word. Like, I don't know. Like, the word
branch.
that we know.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I understand that it's because white people can't fucking handle names in other languages. I get that.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm also like, you got mine.
I know.
Some of us have white name privilege.
People fight against tooth and nail to pronounce my name not phonetically, though, especially my last name.
What do they say?
It's literally MacMillan, like it's spelled.
Yeah.
People say MacMillan. People say, oh my God, what do they say? They say MacMillan, MacMillan, they say anything.
Weird.
MacMillan. It's crazy.
don't
I've also
have
got
that.
Milliken.
I have a lot of people fighting tooth and nail. Like people will be actively messaging me like on Instagram where my name is spelled Carley. And they'll be like, hey, Carley, Carly.
Oh, yes.
And it offends, like, full stop. And I know it's because I'm bringing something with me from my childhood of like people constantly misspelling my name. And my brain goes, that's disrespectful. And it's because they don't notice me or care about me.
It's like when people put an E on the end of Blair.
Yeah. And you're like, but it's right there.
I'm like, oh, so you hate me.
Yeah. And I get it. It's not. I've been working really hard on like letting go of these things
I
that I've
know.
taken.
But it's so
It's like
hard.
my parents have conditioned me and God love them. Like I really do. But they have a big thing of like, that I think a lot of people from their generation have of like respect. Like it's disrespectful. What people are disrespecting me.
Yeah.
So I got cut in line at a cafe the other day by two middle-aged women.
No.
And they didn't know I was in line. You know what I mean? Full stop. They didn't know I was in line.
Yeah.
And in my brain, I had to like breathe in and out and be like, they didn't know.
They didn't know.
It's not disrespectful.
It's okay.
You're not being disrespected. It's fine. But I was like, I want to be like,
gentle voice.
hi.
It's so funny that
I
you
was-
just did that.
oh,
because
'cause I
I
was
was
right
actually
here.
standing right here.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about Wicked.
Inside. Okay, so I'm excited to talk about Wicked.
This was when we pitched
I'm
this
stoked.
whole season to each other. Like, not like we pitched it, but we were like, we should do Salem witch trials.
And then we could do a Wicked episode.
It's basically
Because
a
she's a witch.
Trojan horse to talk about Wicked. And let me say out of the gate, I know somebody from Mervish is watching this.
Mervish, we're plugging that Mervish has Wicked playing soon. Give us tickets, please.
We want free tickets to Wicked.
We'll
Because
make
we
a-
talked about 6.
We talked about 6. We'll make something for you.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Opening night would be great.
Mervish, if you're listening, please,
We want to go
to
Mervish.
Wicked really, really bad.
We don't do sponsorships on the podcast. Do you know what I mean? Like,
You could be first.
you could be the first one.
You could be first. You're getting in the gate. We will accept any rate, and the rate is tickets.
Free tickets?
to Wicked. That's our going rate for sponsorship on
Yes.
Girl Historians. Musical theater tickets.
Before we start, I want you to talk about your relationship to Wicked. The musical is what we're talking about today.
okay.
The musical, it's about witches and stuff. And we'll get into obviously what the plot is.
We'll get into
But
it.
what's your relationship to Wicked? And I'll talk about my relationship as well.
Okay, it's so funny. I just honestly am kind of like a pure fan. I always liked Wizard of Oz. And then Wicked, I feel like by the time I had a brain functioning, Wicked already existed.
If I only had a brain.
If I only had a brain. And then it just kind of like scratched a particular itch in terms of like, I love like other side of the story stuff. It's one of my
being like,
favorite tropes.
I bet you thought you knew about the 3 Little Pigs.
That's the
well,
thing.
guess again.
Like I remember seeing the marketing campaign for it when it was in Toronto when I was a kid. And it was like so much happened before Dorothy came around. And that hooked me. Like my kid brain was like, fuck yes. Because I think like as a kid, and I feel like a lot of kids are like this, where it's just like I had a real interest in the idea of like morality and good and evil.
Oh, for sure.
Because like as a kid, it's so like wrapping your head around it where it's like even
I think it's honestly from the idea of like it's like the idea of like as in adulthood, like mask off of like you're trying to define yourself as a child in relation to other adults and people in your life.
100%.
And you need to understand morality because you basically intrinsically want to know if you're good.
100%. You want to know if you're good. You want to know if you're bad. And like this idea that like, I think also like as you kind of get older as a kid, you start to think more about like, why is this person bad? Like, and I touch on it a bit in this little script I've written on Wicked, but this idea that like in children's stories, there's often someone who's just evil just because they're old or they're ugly or they're like unwanted or whatever.
It's crazy. That's honestly, it's J.K. Rowling disease too.
It is a little.
She's like, oh, I bet you'll never guess who betrayed James and Lily Potter. Their fat friend.
Their fat friend, Peter Petty. Literally Petty.
The rat.
Peter
the
Petty,
rat.
the rat.
The rat.
Peter Petty, the fat petty rat.
And everybody beautiful.
Everybody
First of all, how
beautiful.
dare he kill conventionally attractive people?
And who are 20 also. I'm sorry. What the fuck?
No, we need to talk.
We don't talk
mean,
enough about Harry Potter's parents being 20.
we can do a Harry Potter episode.
I don't think we can.
We should. We can't talk about Harry Potter right now because I'm on the heels of my Marauders video and I have too much information and I'll just dump it on you.
That one I will be watching.
I
and
honestly,
coming
Blair, I
back
think I
with
finished
notes.
it because
I'm really
I would
excited.
reference it every once in a while, and you'd be like, "I've been waiting for this video." You keep teasing it, and I was like, "Well, I've got to finish it." Blair
Well, it
wants
started
to
to feel
watch.
kind of personal because you'd be like, I'm really excited because you know about the Marauders. And I'd be like, I do. And I'm really now waiting with bated breath to see
the
this
Marauders
video. You'd be like, oh, I was thinking about Marauders. I got all these pictures of Lupin. I'm like, okay.
First of all, I just want to clear my name. I never fucking said that. I
said
never
that.
said I have all these pictures of
She said,
Lupin.
I have all these pictures of Lupin, of Andrew Garfield and David Thewlis. I've got pics
a full
boxes.
Just
albums.
I printed them out and under
Printed
my
out
bed.
on photo paper, mind you.
It's like that
large expense.
It's like that scene in Perfect Days where he has that big fucking closet full of all those boxes of photos
that's
he's
you
taking.
with the Lupin.
It's me with different photos of Lupin.
I've got all these pictures of Lupin.
Yeah.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's my relationship
It's about
to it.
morality, yeah.
Yeah, and then I read the book
Okay.
as like a young teenager. I might have still been a child. I might have read it around like 11 years old. I might have read that. That Wicked. Sorry, the book
Yeah, I'm
Wicked.
just listening to
The
you.
Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West by Gregory Maguire, which Wicked, the musical, is based on.
Yes.
And then, of course, sang Wizard and I in some musical theater class in high school. The classic kind of like sang for good at some sort of cabaret.
Yeah.
Drunkenly sang Defying Gravity at karaoke. What's your relationship to Wicked?
I love Wicked. Like, I think at the like 20th anniversary, which was recently, like I just started re-listening to the album. Like I just knew it because of the chokehold it had on society. Love Popular. I honestly like inadvertently, I never really identified as a Wicked fan until my adult life, but I saw it 3 times.
Okay, iconic.
I know, just because it was again the chokehold it had on the culture of the girls.
It also was in Toronto. Well, I guess you
No,
weren't even in
because so
Toronto.
the first time it was the first musical I ever saw when it was a regional touring production in like Baltimore or DC.
I saw a touring production in Toronto.
I don't know if it was Stephanie J. Block who was on the national
I think
tour.
I saw Stephanie
But
J. Block.
it might have been. I don't remember because I was like
Yeah.
9 or something. But it was the first time I'd ever seen musical theater. And it was amazing because like the end of the first act of Wicked is like fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it's iconic.
And it ends with Defying Gravity and she flies. And it just, I remember like the curtain went down and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And my parents were like, there's another part. And I was like, there's another...
We have to come back?
More? Like that was crazy to me. And then I saw
Yeah.
it once. My friend, I think I can put her on blast. My friend Stephanie, for her like Christmas present one year, her parents were going to take her to New York because it was like a 3-hour train ride or whatever to see Wicked, and she could bring a
Cool.
friend, and her friend that she was going to bring was sick. But like it was one of those things where like she never said that. I just knew intrinsically because you always just like know on what
when you've
level
been
you are
asked.
with your friends, and
Yeah.
like. It was very much like she had one friend who was like her musical theater friend, and they loved musical theater together. And her name was
okay.
Ella, and I love Ella. Ella's got a beautiful voice and was very, very talented. I mean, she still is. It's just like I remember her being in 8th grade.
And being like, wow.
Yes, but Ella couldn't go. But Stephanie didn't know that I knew Ella couldn't go, so I was invited, and everybody was just acting like I was the first invite, and I
my
knew I wasn't.
God.
And that, when you're 13, that matters.
Yeah, for
Now
sure.
I'd be like, oh, well, yeah, of course. Like, you guys, that's like your thing.
I know. I've
do that.
embraced being a fill-in. It's like, yeah.
Great.
Let me know.
We can have fun.
Let me know.
And then I think I saw it one other time Not like again like some kind of touring production. It wasn't like on Broadway. I haven't seen very many Broadway musicals in my life, so I would remember. I've seen Wicked with Stephanie. I saw the play The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
Oh, cool.
With Taylor Trench.
Okay.
I saw Dear Evan Hansen with
Amazing.
Taylor Trench.
Oh my God.
My favorite Broadway actor.
I love him.
And then I saw Sweeney Todd.
That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, I also saw the Plaza Suite, actually. I've seen a couple plays.
That's
Because those are
cool.
usually cheaper, actually.
I've actually never seen a play on Broadway.
Well,
I'm realizing.
Have we talked about my affinity for Neil Simon?
That makes sense.
We just don't have time to really unpack it, but I love a Neil Simon play. I love the Plaza Suite's one of my favorite Neil Simon plays to begin with. And it was Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew Broderick doing it together.
Okay.
And I love them both. She ate him up.
For sure.
She ate him
For
up.
sure.
It was one of those things, you know, when you see people and you're like, oh, you're like an actor. Like you're not just like a movie star. Like she's an actor.
Mm-hmm. I love her. I just started watching Sex and the City, so I'm really excited for this era.
For the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Really? Okay. I'm
so excited for you. I love Sex and the City.
I know this
It's
is
like
what
not
everyone
good, but it's
says.
amazing. I'm so excited for you.
Well, it's like I love girls, and
It's that.
everyone's
It's that.
like, it's very. It's like
you have to turn your brain
girls.
off because if you bring to it your level of critical thinking, it will not be fun. You'll be like,
it's
why
just
does
like-
she hate crumbing a sex worker? Or something like that. But you just gotta headphones in, world out.
headphones and worlds out. So, do you want to just start going through the script? So, I've written a summary. And by written a summary, I mean I pulled a summary off of the internet.
And that's fine.
And it's quite long. So maybe we'll just try and speed through it.
Yeah, you're on a need to know basis.
Yeah.
If you haven't ever listened to the cast album, it's a fucking great cast album.
Yeah, honestly, pause now, listen to Wicked front top to bottom, then come back to the podcast.
Yeah, listen to Dancing Through Life
Twice.
Through Life. Skimming the surface, riding where turf is
So
smooth.
here it is. Girl Historian Summary of Wicked. Let's freaking go. And that's all you need to know. So the play opens. They're all celebrating the recent death of the Wicked Witch of the West.
We've seen this before.
We've seen this before. So it's a real, very much the end of the Wizard of Oz vibes.
It's very Harry Potter. We open at the close vibes.
Yeah, we open at the close. I open, shut up. I was like, oh, you're so right. Wait, shut
the fuck up.
up.
Remember that one time in improv practice I referenced The Prophecy and it was such a group of fucking nerds. Everyone went, oh. I was like, everybody here is such a fucking nerd.
This is I need to stop in improv sets bringing up a prophecy as like a way.
No, but I do that. I do that or I do
it's a
curse.
nightmare.
I'm like,
Curse.
oh,
Curse
because
or
nobody
prophecy.
ever wants to give the character something to do. And we simply need to. You go, oh no, it's a curse. If you don't get the diamond, you're going to die.
You're going to die.
And then
It's
you
a
can just do
curse.
whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly. But I just kind of introduce the prophecy like 3/4 of the way through the set and say like,
And then
that's
I
what the
say
prophecy
neither
says.
shall live while the other
And
survives.
which means he has to die, but it's really just the Horcrux. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So we open at the
I
close
talk
with the
about
end
the
of the
prophecy
Wizard.
in the Marauders video
Okay, you know what? Let's just stop the podcast and watch the Marauders video.
on my TV.
I'm ready. Oh, yes. Yes.
No,
Let's
that's a
Chromecast.
nightmare, bro. I can't watch myself.
That's awesome. I love putting my audition self-tapes on the TV
That's
and making
insane.
everyone watch. I know there's something, I broke something with like deep within me a
Yeah.
long time ago. Anyway, so
A cough into the mic.
it's a dramatic cough. It's not.
Anyways.
Okay. So basically it opens, Wicked opens and
At
the
the
witch,
close.
Wicked opens at the, shut up. Wicked opens at the close. They're all celebrating their ding dong, the witch is dead egg.
Absolutely. The witch.
they're
And
singing.
this is the one at the end of the Wizard of Oz, not in the beginning. Because this
Yes.
is because the one witch, the East or West, Wicked Witch of the East gets crushed by a house in the beginning.
In the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's the Wicked Witch of the West gets melted.
Yes. Yeah, and they go ding dong, the witch is dead.
Yes. Just making sure everybody's on the same page.
This is the Wicked Witch of the West in the Wizard of Oz. At the end, she dies and they all celebrate, right? So this is where Wicked starts, is at the end of the Wizard of Oz.
such a fucking good idea.
It's
like
a great
the
idea.
actual book of this musical is so
No, the book eats.
good. That's such a good idea.
Even like reading the summary,
getting
I was
chills. Like, I'm getting
I
chills.
forgot how good this plot is.
I'm
because
gonna weep at Wicked.
there are some musicals that just fall flat on the book. Like they just
And
don't really
that's
care.
fine, but there's nothing
Pasek and
there.
Paul, cough, cough.
Yeah, we're coming for you, basketball. Fucking, oh my God.
I can't with it. We can't even.
We can't talk about the Dear Evan Hansen of it all. We cannot talk about the Dear Evan Hansen of it all.
I know,
or I'm gonna get.
we'll be here.
We'll be here all night.
And we have book club.
We
this
have book
evening,
club.
So
yes, I have a plan to get drunk at book club for a book I've read half of.
yeah, no one's read this book except for me, and I still have 7 pages left.
Yes.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then they're all singing this. Glinda the Good Witch comes out. She's now kind of like Queen of Oz functionally. That's not her title,
She's
but
in a
she's
bubble.
functionally this. And then she's like, ooh, I did know the Wicked Witch of the West back at university. And so they flash back and they tell the story of Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West. She's born of an affair. Her mother and her father, but like her father's like a traveling salesman and he's gone. And then she's born. And then the mother goes, ew, she's green.
She's green.
Ugh, disgusting. And then we fast forward. Presumably, she has a traumatic childhood. This is implied.
And her sister is born. Her younger sister is born, and she's
Nessa
paralyzed.
Rose, and she's paralyzed. So she's paralyzed. She's in a wheelchair.
Well, this is the whole thing they always talk about where they're like, why doesn't Ali Stroker play Nessa Rose? And everyone's like, spoiler alert, babe, she stands up at the end.
I can't get into this. I have so many. Anyway, so then they flash back and they're starting at Shiz University, okay? So it's Glinda and Elphaba starting there. And Elphaba's with her sister, Nessa Rose, who's
And she's just there to take care of her sister, basically. That's like her whole life, very much eldest sister syndrome.
Yeah, she's like, I need to take care of you. And also everyone hates me because I'm green.
Yeah.
So we're getting the full picture already. And then in a twist of fate, Elphaba, the mean green one, and Glinda, the popular bubbly pink girl, have to share a dorm room together. And this is
Loathing.
unadulterated loathing. We should duet that, actually.
Yes, I think we've talked on the podcast.
I think it'd be good.
About singing Loathing.
Duetting loathing.
Yeah.
Bad vibes, but awesome idea.
That's this entire fucking podcast. Bad vibes, but awesome idea.
So they have to share a dorm room. It's chaos. Also, Glinda the Good Witch is the Good Witch. I think the Good Witch of the North.
Chenoweth.
That's Kristen Chenoweth.
And
Adina
Elphaba
Menzel.
is Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem.
The wickedly talented one and only.
Wickedly talented one
and only Adele Dazeem.
At one point,
What's
Elphaba...
Adele's last name?
Who?
Adele.
Adele? Oh, I don't know.
I just realized
Probably
I didn't know her. Worcestershire.
Probably Berkshire.
Rob has never typed faster in his life.
Adele Lori Blue Adkins.
Well, that's why she goes by
That's
Adele.
why she's Adele.
Adkins is crazy. Also, like Adkins, I'm like, as a plus size woman,
you don't want
your last name to be Adkins.
A diet. No, it's like being like, it's like a
bad.
hop, sip, and a jump away from being called Weight Watchers.
I
Like,
know. I was gonna be
rough.
like, hi, my name is Blair Weight Watchers.
Not that one. Yikes.
Also, her spouse's name is Simon Konecki.
Well, they're English. You have to give them some leeway.
Hey, Kanicki.
Hey, Kanicki, where's my comb? That's a line from Grease.
Did she put up a fight? I love that part. Just like a rape sprinkle.
Did she put up a fight? Have you ever seen that sketch?
I was
from way
just
back
going
in
to
the
bring
day?
that sketch up. I fucking love that sketch. Just like something like that. Where, I mean, it's the one where everybody goes, did she put up a fight? And they all are like, whoa, man.
What do you
do that?
What do you mean? Like,
It's really
she
funny.
call the police?
Yeah. It's really funny.
It's a great sketch.
It's a great sketch. Yeah.
That's old now. No, it was like college humor or something.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like it's Funny or Die or something.
Yeah. Funny or Die.
It's like that. I watched a lot of old Key and Peele sketches.
Oh, nice.
And they're every single, like that substitute teacher one. I remember being funny when I saw it, and it's still so funny of like AA run. And there's a part where Keegan-Michael Key goes, if one of y'all says some silly ass name. He is so good.
I know. Oh my God, I love him. He was amazing in Wonka. He's amazing in everything. Those two have just become beacons of culture in a way that like,
yes.
Amazing.
And I'm really happy. I think Keegan-Michael Key really, we talked about this, I think, after I saw Wonka, of like, that is the role he needs to play. For a long time, I think his team, and maybe him as well, have been pushing this like leading man because he's a very handsome man.
He is very handsome.
He's very handsome. I'm not arguing that. But his skill set lies in like being comedic, either being a villain or being silly. So him playing the constable in Wonka, you're like, oh my God, fucking
perfect.
Finally.
Perfect. Also, my hot take is that's the way to do a fat joke.
But it's like
hilarious.
it's at least inside. It's also about something.
It's about something where it's just like, yeah, he's eating pounds and pounds of chocolate.
He's a crooked cop.
He was eating pounds and pounds of stolen chocolate. I was laughing.
I thought all of and this is how you know it's good, because I really hate when like all the fun characters get to be played by men and all the women have to be like gentle mothers. I don't love that.
No.
But I thought that all the villains in Wonka, like every single actor
fun.
was fucking giving their
So
all.
fun.
When there was that one where they were like, when he kept saying poor and everyone was like, ugh, don't say poor. I was like, that's funny. Like, that's funny.
Dude, I loved Wonka.
I loved Wonka. I think
I
that
had a
obviously
fantastic time.
Timothy
Wept at the
Chalamet
end.
being in the middle of a manic episode is why people were upset about it. But it's a great, it's the same guy who did Paddington, which is also
Scratch
great.
that, reverse it. So anyway, back to Wicked. So they're at university now, and the headmistress, Madame Morrible, played by Michelle Yeoh in the upcoming movie,
Oh, that's gonna be good.
is the school's headmistress, and she sees Elphaba do some sort of magic, and then Elphaba is like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm so excited!" Because the headmistress is like, "I'm going to teach you sorcery. I think you have a gift for sorcery. You could be a really sorceress, and then maybe one day you could work with the great and powerful Wizard of Oz."
Yes.
The Wizard of Oz, and then she goes,
When I meet the wizard.
my whole life will change. The worst song that has ever happened to mezzo sopranos, let's just say. Great song. No one should have ever been able to get their hands on that.
Well, this is the Idina Menzel of it all, of like, and I feel like we've talked about this because this is one of the beliefs I hold so near and dear to my heart, where if you're kind of entrenched in Broadway discourse, so often people want to be like, she's shredding her voice by doing that. She's not supporting her voice. She's not singing safely. And
Yeah.
I'm very much like, well, it's her fucking body. And if she wants to shred her, like this idea of like health, I hate. And it's just like this whole thing of being like, well, it's not safe. Or like, I remember the girl who played Lydia in the Beetlejuice musical was like vaping, and people were mad that she was vaping because of her voice.
Whatever.
And it's like, you don't own someone's body. And if
Yeah.
somebody wants to destroy their voice, that is actually, quite frankly, their prerogative.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually none of your business.
Yeah, I always like looking back, I was so annoyed because no one ever wanted to teach me how to belt properly. And I
Yeah.
would say to like my teachers, I'd be like, I need to learn how to belt because all these songs are asking for belting.
Yeah.
And I'm going to destroy my voice doing it. And none of them would do it because they were like, it's not healthy. And I'm like, okay, but like now
But
you
I'm
look
going
at the
to do it
songbook.
anyway.
Yeah, it's like if I want to sing any modern song, I have to belt.
Yeah.
And so luckily I just had a good mixed belt naturally. Otherwise I would have been fucked. And I got pre-nose anyway, but that was from Zoloft. Careful if you're a singer. Zoloft will give you pre-notes. Wish someone had told me that.
You're such a
Fuck my
vocalist,
life.
Blair.
Actually ruined me. I dropped a whole
Wow.
octave. It was crazy. I got it back, but I'm still way flimsier on it than I was before.
Zola.
It was crazy. Yeah. Well, because it caused acid reflux. And it just
Yeah.
kind of burned.
Wellbutrin would never.
Wellbutrin would never. I should go on Wellbutrin. That should be
I'd
my
recommend. That'll be your 2024 goal.
my 2024 goal. I'm going to have the best summer ever.
Because I will say, like, it's honestly fucking insane to not be depressed.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Like, I still have bad days, but it's
sure.
kind of insane.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're not just like, no, even my sister went back on medication recently and like, oh my God, you're so fun to be around now.
I feel like I'm a different, like, I feel like I'm a different person because I'm not in bed all day.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to try and blast through the summary now.
Yes.
So basically, then Fiyero comes along, who's this like
Oh,
roguish
yes.
prince.
Played by the guy who plays Anthony in
Yeah.
Bridgerton.
Jonathan Bailey in the new movie, in the new Wicked movie that's coming out.
I love him.
And then also Bach is there. Bach's another guy. He's a munchkin,
Played by
I think.
SpongeBob in the new movie.
Played by SpongeBob in the new movie.
Which we
Has-
talked about, which is
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy to fall in love with Bach. Like, that is actually insane to me.
No, it's
He's wearing like a
insane.
little hat and shorts and
Yeah.
like knee-high socks.
Yeah.
And he's like, can
I
I
love
save this
him.
dance for you?
Who does Bowen Yang play?
I think it's a new character.
Interesting.
I think it's a new character. 'Cause I remember looking it up because I thought he was going to play Bach.
I thought he was Bach.
He's not Bach.
Okay.
That's
I'm
Ethan Slater as
incredibly
Bach.
confused.
Ethan Slater is Bach.
Okay, now I know
Bowen
this.
Yang is like a
Okay.
new
He's just like a
character.
new guy. Okay, love that. So, Bach and Fear are also there. They're the men. There's a bunch of like, random love triangle shit that's going on.
Yeah,
that I don't
Bach
really
is kind
care.
of lame, and Fiero's like the cool guy who
Yeah.
gets kicked out of like a bunch of schools, and he's like
Yeah.
a cool guy.
And then
So
Bach is in love with Glinda.
Yeah, Bach is in love with Glinda, but Glinda's in love with Fiyero, and Elphaba's also in love with Fiyero, but doesn't want to admit it to herself because she's green and has baggage because of that.
Like, he'll hate me.
And they sing "Dancing Through Life," which is a fucking bop, one of my favorite songs on
Yeah.
the album. And in this whole thing, Bach's like, "I'm going to save a dance for you, Miss Glinda," and she's like, "Why don't you go dance with that girl in the wheelchair?"
Mm-hmm.
And she at some point, it's some crazy lyric about being like that tragically beautiful girl trapped in a chair. Like, it's insane. It's insane. So then eventually they get together because she's trying to kind of pawn Bach off.
Mm-hmm.
being like, oh my God, it'd be so nice if you were with her because she wants to get with Fiero.
She wants to get with Fiero.
Who's dancing through life.
Skimming the surface. And then blah, blah, blah. All this happens. And then Glinda and so I guess like Elphaba goes to Madame Morrible, the head minister, and is like head mistress, whatever. And is like, can you put Glinda in my sorcery class? And then when Glinda learns this, she's touched and she's like, oh, we're going to be friends now.
Yeah.
And then back in their dorm room, she's like, I'm going to give you a makeover. And that's when she sings Popular.
Fucking
You're going to be
change
popular.
the scope. That song is so funny. And Kristen Chenoweth is
Nails it.
every choice she makes when you watch her do it is just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. It's, oh my God.
I was saying I was watching The West Wing and Kristen Chenoweth is in The West Wing.
Iconic.
And I got to show up for my blonde, short, big-headed girls. I was like, she is me and I am her, and we must support each other.
Yeah. So during all this, there's a goat teacher called Dr. Dillamont who's also there, and he's a goat, and he's an animal.
But also a man.
He's a goat, but a man, but he's a goat. And so it goes into this animal rights area where Elphaba is like, you should have rights, and he's suffering discrimination. And then they go to class one day, and they've like brought in this thing called a cage, and they're like, this is where the animals will go, in the cage, because like they're animals. And then like there's laws that like are going to be put in place so that like animals can't talk anymore, like they want to silence the animals. And then
I forgot about that part.
I know, it's actually crazy that the storyline is in this.
Keep going. Something happens to him, right? He can't talk anymore, something like that.
Yeah, they take away his ability to talk and they put him in a cage.
And they put him in a cage. Okay, I thought they put him in a cage, but I couldn't remember if they put him in a cage.
Yeah, and then they and then she like is
That's
like
fucking wild. It's like,
oh no, they bring in a lion cub that's in a cage.
Oh,
and then
yes.
she's like freaking out and she's like, oh my God, like I'm like, I can't do this. Like I'm gonna object, and all the other students aren't objecting. And then she like there's like a big fury, and she's like, and then she takes the lion cub and runs away with Fiero. And then she's like, there's all this other drama where she's like, Fiero's never gonna love me as much as Glinda. And then Madame Morrible shows up, the headmistress, and is like, Elphaba, the wizard wants to meet you.
Yeah.
It's chaos right now. It's chaos. All chaos. Everything's hitting the fan.
Exactly.
At Shiz University right now. And then Glinda changes her name to Glinda because before it's Galinda. And this is just something that I feel like needs to happen because that is
Glinda.
Yeah, because that's what Dr. Dillamont called her, was Glinda.
Yeah.
And then she was like, it's Galinda. And then she changes it to Glinda because in solidarity.
With
and
his
that's her
voice
posting
being
a black
taken away.
square.
Yeah, her black square is, sorry, my teacher got locked in a cage. I
Yeah.
guess I'll change my name.
And so Fiero sort of blows her off and only says goodbye to Elphaba. And she's like, ugh, how could they do that? And then Elphaba goes to Glinda and she's like, come with me to the Emerald City to meet the Wizard of Oz. Dun, dun, dun. So then they go and they meet the Wizard of Oz. And then she has to like prove herself or whatever. And then she's doing these spells, whatever. She gets this like big book of spells. But then it's revealed that the Wizard of Oz is behind taking away animals being able to speak and taking away their rights. And so she's like, you suck, blah, blah, blah. And then,
Sorry, what's she like?
you suck.
Okay, got it.
And so, but then she has to make a monkey fly, basically. So she ends up accidentally cursing this monkey to have really painful wings.
Yeah,
that's another part
really
that
sad.
happens.
That's a
It's
really
sad
rough
moment.
part to watch
It's
in
a
this
really
musical.
rough part because he's like, prove yourself with magic and like make my monkey fly. And she tries to levitate it, but instead he grows these painful wings.
And you might know this from The Wizard of Oz.
The flying monkeys are evil and mad.
Yeah.
I would be too.
Girl, same.
So, and then she figures out that the wizard is behind like suppressing these animals' voices and trying to put them in cages after all. And then it like runs away from the wizard's chamber because she's like, I'm going to take you down. And then Madame Morrible, the headmistress, is like, she's wicked. She's evil. She won't have anything. And Elphaba's like, I got to run away. And then she's like, Glinda, come with me. And Glinda's like, no, I can't come with you.
Why couldn't you come for once?
Instead of flying off the handle, I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy now. I hope you're happy. You have hurt your cause forever. I hope you think you're clever.
I hope you're happy. That song is so fucking
clear.
good.
Then they do Defying Gravity.
And everybody is absolutely shaken to their core.
So she puts the levitation spell on a broom, and then she
flies.
She gets lifted in the air, flies, and everyone's like, she's wicked. We all hate her now. And
no one
all the
more
townspeople,
so wicked. Get her!
Oh, so there we go. It's good.
Wicked.
Because she's learned to have self-respect now.
Absolutely.
And that's Act 1.
I have a chill.
That's the end of Act 1.
And then there's more.
I'm gonna
So this is
cry.
what I'm saying, where it's like all this happens, the lights go down. I'm 9. And I'm like, well,
You're like, well, that's the
fucking
show's-
crazy.
the show's done.
And they're like, no, there's an hour left.
Yeah, no, and there really is. And I'm blowing through. There's whole chunks
Guys,
I'm
if you
missing.
get the chance to see Wicked, go see Wicked and go see the movie. I mean, who
Go
knows if the
see
movie
Wicked. It's
is.
so good. And so then in Act 2, Elphaba is fully just the Wicked Witch of the West. She has the title. Everyone hates
Kind of
her.
like this.
That's kind of how she's laughing.
She's on that type of beat.
She's on that type of beat. And then Act 2, we're going to sum it up way less just because it's honestly a lot more complicated and we don't really have the time on the podcast.
And it's not important. Like the first act
No.
is really the juice, you know?
Yeah.
Like go see the whole thing, but we don't want to spoil too much for you.
Yeah, exactly. Though I will spoil the ending, so maybe skip over if you don't want the ending. But basically, she continues to be in opposition to the wizard. She considers joining him again, and then she realizes the Dr. Dillamond, the goat teacher from Act 1, has now lost his ability to speak and is being kept as an animal. So she's just sort of like Oz is, you know, this hellhole. Like it's this like
There's no animal rights.
there's no animal rights. It's people living under oppression. And she's like, I can't deal with that. And Glinda makes the choice to, you know, kind of gain power in this, you know, horrible regime, but then, you know, secretly support Elphaba. And they have this beautiful song where they say goodbye forever called For Good, which all the girls sing in karaoke. And then at the end, it turns into the Wizard of Oz story. So we go back where Nessa Rose gets crushed by Dorothy's house.
fucking
And then
awesome.
Dorothy steals the shoes that are rightly Elphaba's. And then
That is really fucking crazy. We don't
It's-
talk
yeah,
about that
it's
enough, but
nuts.
just to steal shoes off a dead body and continue on your merry way is absolutely unhinged.
that's what I'm saying. And it's also like, so she turns Bach also into a Tin Man. And then Fiyero is the Scarecrow. And then also the lion cub that they rescued at the beginning is the Cowardly Lion. So that's the backstory of all those characters.
Which we fucking love.
Which we love to hear that. And then it's basically the Wizard of Oz story, but told from Elphaba's perspective. And then when she gets water dumped on her, because that's the rumor that she can die through water.
Yeah.
She dies, but then it turns out that she didn't die.
She had a
and
trap door, right?
She had a trap door.
And she just hid, and then her and Fiyero like run off into the sunset, right?
Yes, exactly. And Glinda mourns her and thinks she's gone forever. And then Elphaba and Fiyero run off to live happily ever after. And that's Wicked. And yes, there are more details. No,
But
they are
watch
not.
the slime
Watch-
tutorial, bitch.
Watch the slime tutorial.
Okay, so now that we finished Act 1.
We are doing, much like the movie, 2-parters for this Wicked episode.
I know, and everyone's mad.
And I'm sorry. Sorry.
Here's what I
Not
do think
sorry.
about the movie, though. Because obviously, like usually with part 1 and part 2, Deathly Hallows, Mockingjay, whatever, part 1 is ass and part 2 is good.
Yeah.
I actually think it's going to be the opposite with Wicked because
I know.
Act 1 of Wicked is so
It's
good.
so good.
Yeah.
They've just got to do Defying Gravity twice. There's
They're going to. They have
What
to.
else are they going to
There's
do?
no
They
point.
have to do Defying Gravity
But also, it's
twice.
like popular. Define like all the good
All
songs
the
are in
good
Act
songs.
1.
Well, because Act 2 is very much like summing up everything. And as we see from Act 1, it gets incredibly
Are there
political.
good songs? What are the other songs in Act 2?
For Good.
Oh yeah, but that's
It's not really a banger.
you can't hinge the entire movie on For Good.
I know. I'm sure that they've made some sort of like interesting decision that
Yeah.
because they've got to have a moment like Defying Gravity in Act
I'm
2.
sure she'll sing Defying Gravity a second time.
A second now, she's got to be like, I'm still defying gravity.
Also this time,
Defying gravity.
like I did in the first movie.
My gravity is so defied.
Just like before, but this time too.
Also still happening. I'm still gonna be up there. So, yeah, no, I am excited.
I'm just excited
Yeah.
to see it. Like, you know, when you go and see a movie the day of, and it's like when the Star Wars movies were coming out, and it's like, oh my god, okay, the girls are here. I'm excited to see what the Cineplex is like opening weekend. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know. I really hope it's like a fun time.
I feel like if we also play our cards right, like we should just be invited to the premiere.
That's
in
what I'm
Toronto.
saying. I'm actually Mervish.
No, I mean the premiere of the movie in
I
Toronto.
know. That's what I'm
You
saying.
think Mervish
I'm
can
saying
do that?
Mervish. No, I'm saying Mervish, you have competition.
Oh, okay, Mervish, you have competition.
Mervish, you have competition. You might now be our second sponsor.
Absolutely. So do you think you're an Elphaba or Glinda? I have personality dysmorphia and I have no idea who I am.
No, I know what you mean because, like, I really would love to play Glinda.
Yeah. But we're not talking about who to play.
I know,
We can't
but
talk
I
about
feel like
that.
I've related to Glinda, but then also just like there's something about the character of Elphaba that is so like like just so heart-wrenching. Like you really see yourself in her.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think I'm gonna say probably. I think I've been a Glinda to some people and an Elphaba to others. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Are you gonna say the same thing?
No, well, this is what's hard about like when we read Pride and Prejudice. I like the character of Elizabeth Bennet. I find so annoying, and I know that's because
You're a lot like her.
I am seeing parts of myself that I don't really want to see. Like I'm like,
Yes.
shut up. Don't be so self-righteous. And it's like because she's in the room with us right now. Is Elizabeth Bennet in the room with us right now?
Bennet, is she in the room?
So I don't know. Like I love like the character of Elphaba, but like I find her to be a lot. Like I find the martyr complex, and her
It's a
life is
lot.
bad.
Yeah.
I find it to be a lot. Do I think I'm all Galinda? No. I do think I have the capacity to be Galinda in certain elements. I think that like the element of being like, why don't we all just chill out? Like, why don't we all just like have a party and chill? I don't want to deal with these tough things that are happening. I just want to do my thing. But I do think at the end of Act 1, like if Elphaba was like, we need to fix this, I'd be like, let's go, girl. Do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be like, no, I'm going to stay here. I would never be the like Act 2 later Glinda.
No. Yeah, I totally get that.
No. And I think if I wanted to play anyone, I think we talked about this before, but I want to
be
play.
Puck.
I want to be Fiero.
You want to be Fiero?
I don't know if I have the riz to be Fiero.
Through life, skimming the surface. Yeah, it's a hard say.
I don't know. It's so hard. I think.
Imagine I'm the Wizard of Oz.
Cool. I'm Madame Horrible.
Okay.
Interesting.
So neat.
I just think that there's other elements, like they are very like for musical theater specifically, pretty like, you know, fully fledged characters and like very, very like deep and have different elements to them. But I think because of that, they also have to be like different sides of the same coin. It's hard to it's like when people are like, are you an Amy or a Joe? And I'm like, I don't really think I'm either.
It's like I was trying to do this with like girls because I think that probably the hardest thing
Is what girl are you?
Is what girl are you?
Because if
from
you
HBO's
think you're a
Girls.
certain girl,
Because
you're
if
not.
if you think you're a Jessa, you're a Hannah.
Yes.
If you think you're a Shoshana, you're a Marnie. Like it's all very like chess a little bit because you're not supposed to be able to see yourself in these girls.
Yes.
So it's like it's about your self-perception more than it's about what
Who you are.
character traits you embody.
Yes. Who do you think you are from HBO's Girls? And not like who do you think you're this person, so you're actually this person? Who do you think you actually are?
Who do I think I actually am? I think probably Hannah.
I was going to say, I think I'm Hannah. I think I've got Hannah. I would love to be Shoshana.
Yeah, Shoshana's the best.
She's great. I mean, Jessa sucks, but is great. But I'm just not Jessa. Like, there's just no part of me that's cool in the way Jessa's cool.
I think you're a little bit of Jessa.
I would love to be a little bit of Jessa. But I do think there's like the Hannah element. There's an element when she's at the Iowa Writers Workshop and she says, you're from New York and therefore you're inherently interesting. I was like, I've been seen.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But again, this is the whole thing of like, you know, the difference between like, I think people really don't like Hannah, but like Hannah gets published. Like my girl's published. Like
that's
they
what I'm saying.
do all grow and
It's also just like you're supposed to kind of like, I don't know, I've said this before, but like if you just put my life down on a TV screen straight from like what I've been doing, I would also look like an awful person because we're not supposed to be observed like that.
And also it's the whole thing, people being like, we want more
100%.
more like complex female characters, and then you can't handle fucking Hannah.
Yeah.
You're telling me you can't handle Marnie singing Kanye
Friggin'
West slowly at
doing faster makes us stronger.
that like makes me want to die. Like that scene,
Iconic.
it's one of the best scenes in television because nothing
It's
makes me want to
amazing.
die more than her singing that.
Yeah.
So
So
that's the end of episode 1.
thank you for tuning in as always.
This is Girl Historian. Subscribe to the Patreon if you want, and if you don't, you don't have to.
You don't have to, but we love you either way.
Love you.
And we'll see you next week for Wicked Part 2.
Bye.
Bye.